Hello and welcome to the Captain's Table Podcast. My name is Paul Berserker01 Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender at the Astropub, your professor on the Astro Historian, and your moderator here at the Captain's Table Podcast. This is a podcast going on 9 years where we talk about Star Citizen and it's Star Citizen news, lore, and more. So we just sort of discuss any sort of the new topics. We do theory crafting, all that kind of stuff. And of course, Chad is reminding me to turn on the question bot because the problem about our question bot is that it's great. It's wonderful.
Question.
It's a wonderful question bot. The problem is it only works if you turn it on after you've started the stream, both stream for YouTube and for Twitch. Otherwise, it won't turn on and start taking things.
It's perfect, other than this one glaring flaw.
It's just the setup is a bit obtuse.
It's an alpha, Paul.
It is pretty much. There we go.
Give him feedback, Paul. Be like, tell him, like, this is not good enough. It needs to be better.
So now it's starting. So it should be good. Let me make sure it's working, and it's working. Good. So, for today, we are going to have a talk a little bit about Star Citizen's Year of Stability. It's something we talked about last week with the community where we did our call-in show. But I wanted to do more focused in terms of specific questions around both, or I keep saying both, but the financial side of how successful this is from gameplay side and from a content side. Because as a result, I brought Space Tomato and Loken Plays, both content creators who do a lot of Star Citizen, and also have communities that play the game pretty frequently as well as myself with my own organization. So I figured these folks would be a great to talk about, and we're all info runners too, so that's always fun to do that.
We've been known to dabble.
Yes. So with that being said, let's start with Mr. Loken Plays. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
Hey everybody, if you don't know who I am, my name's Loken Plays. I occasionally make content on Twitch, as in I do it like 5 days a week, and I play a lot of Star Citizen, so I dabble. No, I'm usually found on twitch.tv/Loken Plays. I'm there Monday through Friday, usually playing Star Citizen. I'll play other games too though, so I've been doing some like E-Frontier, tried that recently, No Man's Sky's recent drops campaign, all that stuff, so I'll do other stuff too, but that's where you'll predominantly and primarily find me doing content, and I am still at this point thinking about YouTube. I might at some point do it. I also dual stream on TikTok now too, which has been weird. Has been a vibe.
How has that been working? Has it been good?
It's okay. Like it's gonna take time to grow if it grows at all. Like some days I'll have like 10 people, some people I have like 2 people. It's not great, but it's just it's additional stuff I can just do. It's the same stream going out to 2 places, so I'm down nothing and up potentially stuff. So
that's good.
It's been all right.
Then we've got Mr. Space Tomato. Who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen, and where can they find you?
I also think about YouTube way too much. You said that, and I was like, that is a
vibe.
Hobby.
Yeah. That's...
I also make YouTube videos, though. I do more of the YouTube video side. Also do some streaming, though. Space Tomato, basically everywhere. We've got an org. We got a community. There are a couple of Space Tomato YouTube channels and stuff that you can see. But generally, I do I'm on the feature side of things. You said we're all info runners here, which is more of the ship side of things, very ship focused. I am like the least ship focused person in that group because I just prefer like the feature mechanics and stuff in Star Citizen. So I cover some other games sometimes, occasionally dip in and out of mostly just space game stuff. But I stick around Star Citizen and try to mix a nice concoction of news, speculation, and copium into something that maybe you'll enjoy.
Awesome.
This was so much more professional than mine. Mine was just rambling.
I did this. I was trying to pick off your format, man. I was like, oh my God, you did so good.
Just plug in all the stuff. Dang. We have a community too, and we have an org as well. There you go. I've done that. So
yeah, pimp your orgs a little bit. So Space Tomato, your org is the Garden Interstellar, right? I think CIG even promoted it a little bit. What is is it anything specific you do, or is it just sort of a generalist org?
No, it's we have one rule really. 2 rules, if you will. Obviously, real life comes first. That's, I think, most people follow that rule. But also, we don't support non-consensual PvP. So like we're down for people fighting each other, killing each other, bounty hunting, smuggling, all that kind of stuff. It's just rather don't kill people who don't want to be killed. And then everything else is fair game. We do industrial security, science. We try to make it so that anybody can hop in and dedicate as much time or as little time as they want and still get into some events every week. My camera's gone. Oh, now it's back. We also we also just try to support like helping people out. You know, we're open to newcomers, we're open to vets, veterans of the game, not like military. We are also open to military vets. That's it. That's our org. There you go.
Awesome.
God.
And Logan, you run the Imperial Arms, correct?
I do, yeah. So Imperial Arms is my personal organization. It feeds off a lot of the stream, but it's the same principles of the stream that I have in the org, which is basically be happy, helpful, respectful to each other, and basically try to be the solution, not the problem to a situation. You know, we delve into all sorts of things. I think our specialization is logistics, and will hopefully be manufacturing. You know, with a name like Imperial Arms, arms manufacturers kind of our vibe. But you know, we enjoy going and doing all sorts of bits and pieces of Star Citizen, as we well know. Lads, you know, we're gonna need to touch every single piece of SC to do everything else. This specialization's okay, but being more generalist is usually very helpful, or will be, at least from what we're seeing.
Yeah.
That's us. And we're open to anybody and everybody. You don't have to be, you know, God's gift to piloting or the best gun out there. Just be a decent human being who's not going to be an arse, and you're good.
I was going to say you have Klepter, so that's already a choice that you know you don't have to be good at the game to be there.
I have a Klepter. I have a Ruben. I've got a lot of people. I've got a lot of gremlins.
You got Ruben in your org, dude?
Yeah,
I do.
It's like a blessing on its own.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of gremlins. We've got a lot of loot goblins too. God damn! I swear, it's cat herding all the time.
It's the best part of the game right now, loot goblin.
It is.
Good time.
Speaking of loot gobbling, that is my org. For those of you who don't know, it's the League of Relic Enthusiasts. We're specializing in a completely worthless, pointless part of the game that we enjoy, which is going to find relics, which you can find in different loot pools. But we do everything else. We do CZs, we do all of the events that go on. So we're sort of more of a relaxed sort of. We do stuff once a week, sort of group. But we herd cats with laser pointers, that sort of thing. But I wanted to bring that up.
Specialized in acquisitions.
Yeah. We specialize in acquisitions. Just don't ask where we got it from. And no, we're not the British Museum. But yes,
are you sure about that?
But yes, that is a statue of Trazen in our hall, because Trazen is our patron saint.
Might be the French Museum.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Perfection.
The Blood Ravens may be our other name. I can't guarantee it. But I bring that up because I do want to start off with that main point in terms of just playability, because it is the year of like playability, the year of improvement, with CIG releasing a patch every month except for I want to say April. I want to say there was one month where they didn't. It was like either April or May, right before Invictus. So they've done.
It was April, I think, or May. April.
Out of the 8 months, they have or 9 months, they have released 8 patches. So
where are we going?
With 4.3.1 currently in PTU. So
as we speak, yeah.
I'll start with you with this one, Loken. In terms of your experience and the experience you've had with your organization and the other people who you've played with, how has the game improved? Has it backslid? What are some of the benefits and some of the negatives you've seen with this year in terms of content and playability?
So I'm going to come out of the gate and say, I think both you and I actually were, when we first heard that CIG were making this sort of like shift from their focus of, you know, just pushing out the new updates and the new content and fix it later. You know, they took the shift and switched toward, okay, we're going to make the game more playable. We're going to focus more on the pre-existing current audience base and the game we currently have, and whilst still doing the other bits, but it's not going to be the laser focus. And I'll be honest with you, I was cagey about that. I was very much of the mindset of, let's just get all this stuff broken now so that we don't have to fix it again several times over when you add new stuff. But, you know, I was like, all right, fair enough. That's what CIG is going to do. That's what they're going to do. Let's see how it goes. So, obviously, to your question, honestly, it's not been too bad, actually. I will be honest, I think my opinion's changed. quite a lot. I didn't realize how much I was having to compensate for Star Citizen during the day to day because I stream it almost daily. So for me, a lot of the secret handshakes or the particular
Throw salt over your
fixes
shoulder, sort of thing.
yeah, through the rituals and the blood sacrifices needed to make an elevator work. It's just kind of second nature at this point. But yeah, there's a lot of that was going on, and it was pretty bad. So I'll go be honest. So for credits to you, they have had a decent cadence. They have kept to what they said they're going to do. It is a shame to see things like engineering being delayed so heavily at this point because I was really hyped for that for other reasons. Big ship guy, so it is what it is. But yeah, from a gameplay, just from a personal perspective, yeah, I think that's made a big world of difference. The game we have today is not the game we had 8 months ago. It is a far more stable, far more playable, far better overall experience for the day-to-day citizen to go in and enjoy it. And I think I've seen quite a few people coming in and going, I backed the game in 20 something and it was awful. Can I play it now? And I'll be like, yeah, actually, no, it's probably going to work for you now. It's not going to just have some random 30k crash. It's, persistence works. You will respawn back where you were for the most part. It's not perfect, guys. I'm not saying that, this is perfection. It's not. Okay, resource drive recently for the Second Life initiative was awful. Absolutely bloody awful. I don't want to see another crate again. Oh, God.
4 SU crates.
5 weeks.
Four SU crates.
5 weeks of freaking crates. And I helped other people. But minus that, for the most part, it's been pretty good. I have more on this, but I'm going to give Space some time to talk because otherwise I'll talk for England.
Tomato, your thoughts as well. You're fixing your camera, I'm guessing.
I don't think I am, to be honest. I don't know what's wrong with it, but it's having some struggles. We'll just,
just
as
keep
long as
going.
the voice is coming through.
Yeah.
Do you want to carry on in that case, or just?
Keep going.
I'm good
Next
if you
couple
want.
You got to be careful because us three on here, it could be going for hours. Whenever I'm on Space Tomatoes podcast, it's like, we're going to go for 3 hours when he's usually there for like an hour or maybe 45
buddies,
minutes.
I always
we
say
play
an
the
hour.
game, so
yeah.
Yeah, why would we play when we could talk about it?
Tomato, your thoughts on this year in terms of like overall playability, in terms of just like content, goods and bads of what's been happening.
I think that I am in the same boat that Loken was in the beginning. As somebody who really likes the feature talk and like seeing what's going to happen in the game, it's been rough not talking about features and what's going to happen in the game. It's been basically just whatever the content is for that month and whatever it is that's making that happen. So we haven't gotten sprint reports. Inside Star Citizen's basically gone. Star Citizen Live is like once, maybe twice a month. Really, it just feels like it's monthly reports now that we're relying on for that kind of information. And I think it shows a really clear sort of stance from CIG that they're like, we do not need to, hey, come on, camera. Come on now. We do not need to drop tech advancements or new cool features in front of you to keep you excited and interested. We've got content to deliver. And we think that if we keep that playable and we keep, partnering that up with things that make sales, then we have a successful year ahead of us while we can then focus on what's important, which for them right now is Squadron 42. So I think in terms of playability, they've done a decent job of getting the game into a better place to be able to rely on that. Like, can you imagine if they took this stance 2 years ago and they were like, yeah, just like play the stuff in the game. We're not going to give you any sprint reports. We're not going to do any exciting things. We're just going to, whatever is in the game is what you guys have. And it's really easy to look at this year and be like, oh, it hasn't been that great. But the last time we got actual releases of missions, like any sort of different kind of missions besides the some iteration on bunkers, was like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. And it's not been consistent. And this year they've been doing it almost every patch. They've had voice acting. They've had actual progression. They've had some level of a tutorial format in terms of combat, at least. And I think that kind of stuff it's easy to overlook because they really should be making more progress on different areas that we don't see as much right now. But in terms of their goal of putting content in the game that can actually be played by like the casual person, they've done better this year than ever before. Not saying that's enough for them to get out of the weeds or to find success, but they've definitely made a difference.
That says fair opening statement.
I will echo a lot of that. I am also skeptical because I'm of the opinion that CIG would improve dramatically over longer periods of time if they just took the content that they were working on, even if it was barely functioning, and just shove it into the game until it broke, and then fix the game once it had all its features in there. Because we know that all these features are dependent on each other, and I still have the fear that March of next year, when they're like, we're done with this year's stability, we're going to focus on new features, they'll release a bunch of new features, and it'll break the game as bad as 3.18. I don't want that to happen, but I have a fear that will still happen. And
well justified too.
Yeah. Just because that's just how technology works. You can't always test it out. Like I was talking about this earlier in chat, and Helldivers 2, when it first released, had problems, major problems, but it was good enough of a game that it could fight through the problems. And then they just released it to Xbox, and I think it was like 20,000 new players jumping into there. It broke the game because they hadn't had that level of concurrency in a long time. So this huge influx of concurrency broke the game in weird ways that they had to go back and try to fix since then. And this is, Arrowhead and Helldivers, which is one of the best cultural phenomena in gaming right now. So it doesn't matter who you are, it's going to happen at some point. I'm sure it happens in Call of Duty, and it happened in Battlefield, when Battlefield 6, when it released its beta, not just with cheaters, just problems were arising really quickly. So as a result, that's my fear. But overall, I think there's just been more people playing. I've had the same sort of interactions y'all have had, where people come into my comment section or into my chat and be like, I haven't played the game since 2016. I'm coming back for the first time and I'm actually enjoying myself. For all of its problems, the resource drive, I think, has significantly increased people's interest into the game, because it's the first PvE experience they've done that wasn't exclusively reliant on shooting things.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree.
Would have been great if it wasn't broken. I think
that's the problem.
Been fantastic for them.
Yeah.
Like, we finally got this big event, and it's got a big old bottleneck in it.
Yeah.
You know what's nice though? What's really nice is when somebody comes and says, I don't know much about Star Citizen, tell me about it. And you can go and do something like show them the Onyx site and actually show something that resembles a video game.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, it's a really cool game. You can do all this stuff, and actually show something that's working and is narrative and has cool music and it feels like it's actually quite useful to say it's not actually just a pipe dream, I swear it's actually a thing. You know?
You're not constantly clenching because you think you're going to fall through the floor. Well, this happens. Just don't go to pyro.
I had that the other day, actually. I hadn't had an elevator not appear for like about 2 months, and then just suddenly yesterday, just one of them, elevator wasn't there. I was like, whoa, okay, you almost got me there. Yeah. You almost got me, you bastard.
But I think that's also kind of the problem too. One of the problems that I've seen is that CIG has become a victim of its own success, because they've been adding these new features, specifically with things like, I'm trying to interpret this with Wicklow. And so you get you go work real hard and you get a Wicklow Hornet and you're like, this is amazing. And then the next patch rolls around and it's just gone. Like all of that work is erased in a day. And
my Pyro one has still not got its gear back. And I'm very annoyed by that.
Yeah. And that's just a problem. Like there's long-term persistence. Has it gotten better than it used to be? Yes, significantly. But you still lose like I had 2 NN13s in preparation for going into getting an ICT, and then one of them just got eaten in that patch. So so it's like, okay, and NN13s are really hard to get because they're only available on Orbituary in that CZ, and that's the elevator that always breaks. The freight elevator that always breaks, and that is for a CZ. If it's going to be a CZ elevator that breaks, it's going to be the Orbit one. And and they're hard. They don't always pop up. So, so and that's an example of like that would only exist. That only exists because CIG added Wicklow and all these features, and that causes some more problems. So there are some problems, but the problems seem to have migrated away from we're crashing every 5 minutes, my elevator's eating me, to the freight elevators are not always useful in specific places, and I sometimes lose stuff that I've worked really hard for, which still sucks.
There are other balance issues too. I think we should, I'm sure we'll get on to those, but yeah, you're not wrong here.
Now let's talk about the other elephant in the room, because I think this one's actually more important, because for good or for ill, it is what it is. The financial situation. CIG, we know that they've had struggles with finances. For 2 years ago, we know they were struggling with finances, and they've gotten better year on year. But even last year, they didn't quite make as much as clearly they were hoping for. How with this changeover to this almost monthly cadence of releases, we've seen a significant increase in their financial situation. They've gotten a lot more money this year than they've had in the past. So the question is, that I'm going to ask you, start with you, Tomato. Is this a good thing for CIG? And is this something that CIG can continue to do and rely on year, even if they're not doing this sort of year of stability?
That's a lot. Their whole financial situation, I don't think is sustainable, what they're doing right now. I think this is, I think that my own little conspiracy theory, sorry for my camera problems, is that they are trying to push back a tide that was supposed to be relieved in 2023, 2024. I think that around 2018, 2019, they really set their sights on possibly the 2023 release date for Squadron. Maybe it was like a 2020 kind of time, because I know they had their whole beta thing back then. But I think they set a sort of a mid to long term goal for Squadron to come out at one point, and it missed that point. And they are now in a position where they don't have the money that maybe they expected to come in from that release, and they're doing a little bit more to just sort of keep going until Squadron can release and give them a little bit of a relief. I don't think that they can continue along releasing a new vehicle every month for the rest of their existence. I think that things will get out of hand far too soon. And I think just in general, there are better strategies that they have. I don't know if they're making a concerted effort to move over in terms of how they finance themselves, how they monetize, but it does feel like there's a lot more they could do now than they could before in terms of skins, in terms of liveries, and just branding stuff. They're doing better at releasing stuff in the game. So I think their path forward in terms of finances doesn't seem too bad as long as Squadron does well. But I do think that they're in kind of a weird situation here, a tough situation, in that they probably didn't have the plans of needing to do as much to monetize as they are right now. The whole Flight Blades thing seems like a bit of an unforced error. Oh, looks like my camera's completely gone. Good. At least now you can stop breaking. In terms of the progress that they've made this year, though, it's been pretty impressive, not gonna lie. And I just pulled up the numbers just to see, because I put out a video a couple weeks ago where I was talking about the progress they were making and what they were doing. They were 37% ahead of their year-on-year earnings last year. Since I put out that video, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, they're now 41% up from on year over year. And throughout the year, it's kind of been their money is coming in, that's good, but the people coming in has been lower than other years previously. But now I'm coming back to look at it again. August was huge in terms of people coming in compared to any year, any other August they've ever had. They had 60,000 new accounts made in August compared to 27,000 new accounts made in August 2024. And their best year ever was, I think, 2022. That was less than 30,000 new accounts made. So even if they're extra accounts, something was really driving people into trying the game more in August, and that goes for almost every month of this year. So I think overall what they're doing is healthy for the game, but like you said, there's some worry that okay, this is good for now, but can you keep this going even outside of the sales? Can you just keep maintenance going every week or every other week or every month? Can you keep doing a bunch of pretty hefty dot patches every month that fix a lot of things and handles a lot of the problems that popped up over the last month? Can you actually take care of the serious stuff that people are having long-term problems with that are eventually driving players away, like the star map, the persistence problems, stuff like that? I think that's what really their long-term depends on. But as far as short-term, they are doing very well.
Yeah. Someone's bringing up the referral rework, but that was started in July. So
They're also the thing is you can always point to those. They do that every year.
yeah.
So every year you take into account the fact that they're doing referral bonuses, they're doing different things to get people to sign up with updates. That's kind of factored into the percentage changes.
By the
What
way,
happens in August?
I
like
sent
that.
I
What was
sent
that?
I sent you a new link there, Logan Tomato. So try that one out because I think it might
It's my camera, dude. It's not even no, it's my camera. It's on my end.
Try-
Something
I would say try it just in case because it
right.
is an older link. So, but yeah, you were saying, Logan?
I was just saying, what happened in August that caused that kind of influx? Like,
I
I'm
don't
trying
know.
to rack my brain as to what thing occurred, other than the wolf was, well, released and it was beautiful.
But I mean,
Amicia.
I don't know if the wolf like
That's not enough to bring in 60,000 new players.
we did have a new the best in show with a free fly, but I don't remember that free fly being a big one.
Yeah, the free fly is a thing, yeah. God. Maybe it's just a confluence of several smaller things all just, converging into one thing, you know? Lawrence being best in show. Yeah, honestly, chat's not wrong, actually. I suppose the free fly probably helped a lot and people got to play the new content that was already there, including the first iteration of Onyx sites, for example, and was like, oh, it's a game. All right, I'll spend money. There you go.
Dude.
You know?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm sure we're gonna get to it at some point. The whole argument that they're gonna make less money if the game releases is just it keeps getting stomped on by things like that.
It's part of this conversation right now. I don't think they're going to make less money when the game releases.
Yes, they won't. They'll make more.
Yeah, because there's so many people who are like the reality is, and this is one of those weird things to like talk to people about when it comes to psychology. There is a very small percentage of people who even know about Star Citizen. The vast majority of the gaming community is at best tangentially aware that it exists as a game at some point. It's like there was that dinosaur game about dinosaurs called The Isle that nobody remembers, but it existed at one point. But I guarantee you, if you mention it, it was like all of the rage on Twitch when it first came out. But if you mention it now to somebody who is gaming today, they couldn't tell you it existed at any point. Just the people who are into that sort of thing. So
I think you also got to remember the course. Generally speaking, those who are not in the quote know have that kind of just taste of the bad rap that has just kind of amalgamated around Star Citizen. So they either tangentially know about it or they've heard bad things about it. So they're like, well, no. And so they sort of steer away from it. The more good press that comes out of there, of course, and big events like Squadron releasing, and then this proposed date for a 1.0 release, which is bold.
yeah.
Bold there, that's what I'm gonna say. Hope for that. They'll probably change people's opinions quite heavily.
Yeah, I think most people are just waiting for the game to release. That's what it is. It's just people.
Yeah.
Most people will have an opinion on like, well, I've heard it's a scam, but like most people like, when the game comes out, because I think that's the biggest thing I've seen is just like this game is never coming out. Is the joke, not that.
Yep.
It's like when it actually comes out, people are like, wait, it's coming out,
Oh.
and that alone is going to shoot through the roof the number of people who are buying the game. It's just going to explode.
It's
And
crazy.
that's gonna mean money, baby.
Yeah.
The way people view the game right now is, I mean, certainly not as a game. It's like the amount of people who do not care about something if they don't think it's a release game or it's going to be released. People are so burnt by early access and crowdfunding and alphas that they just do not care. And games live or die now based on word of mouth. And it's really easy to look at the games that go through these processes and see just how much more success they find. Maybe not long-term success, but at least at that release point, they get such a huge buzz of PR that if you can capitalize on it, you can build a much better lasting community. It happened to Satisfactory.
Truth.
It happens
point,
to No
good point.
Man's Sky every
Every
year.
every patch, every time they
Yeah.
release something new.
Well, you know, they deploy a literal here, build your own Corvette base builder that's basically make rivals that of Starfield. They're gonna get an influx of people coming in.
Yeah.
God damn. They just drop that just out of nowhere.
Yeah, and of course we'll talk a little bit about this as well. But it's one of those questions long term is Squadron 42. I love Luke, but I saw a video on Luke talking about this in the past. I forgot his last name. You had him on your show, Tomato. So
Oh, Luke Stevens.
Luke Stevens. But he's definitely stopped following Star Citizen after the unforced error of the flight blades.
Flight Blades. Yeah.
So and so his reference for Star Citizen is still CIG is forcing things into the game for sale so that they can make money because they're a failing company. Because that came out like a week after CIG's like big thing about, oh yeah, we lost a bunch of money 2 years ago. You know, we were in the red a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And so it was not a good timing for CIG on that part.
Yeah, no, that was really bad timing.
But as in terms of like actual content, I think Squadron is one of those things that will also improve the game's finances, where it'll put the pressure off of selling ships.
Yeah.
At the same time, I don't know if they can survive selling ships the size and the like number they are now in the future. That's kind of where I'm a little bit nervous about when it comes to their finances. Right now, I think the true success of their financial success for this year is because of releases. People buy ships when they see gameplay. But eventually, when the game is in beta or in release, the game's out. The gameplay is there. So people aren't going to be like, I'm going to buy this ship to support the game. They're going to like, I'm going to buy my game package. I'm going to play the game. So at that point, it's a matter of how do you can keep people interested and invested in a way that isn't going to make them go, nope. And I love Star Citizen fans, but your average person isn't going to drop more than $100 for an in-game item. Most people who spend thousands of dollars on like gacha games or League of Legends or those kind of stuff, they do so at like $2 to $5 at a time, not $1,000 for an in-game frigate. So
congratulations, you are the minority, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Well done.
So it's a matter of like, how do you ensure when you get a larger audience of people playing, which of course I'm sure all of us, including the community, wants, so we can have a better game. How do you do it in a way that doesn't make them go, this game is a scam? Because we all know it's not. It's just complicated in terms of how that works. So,
I am sure that is a conversation they have on a regular basis.
I hope so.
I bloody hope so too. I'm sure they will. Look. It's easy enough to sort of like, sort of point from sort of, make fun of, I guess, or, at least highlight let's just say some of the more incompetent choices that CIG have made in the previous history, but they have generally learned and they're not idiots. And I think to treat them as such would be disingenuous, I guess, like they're aware, I'm sure they're aware. I'm sure they have conversations. I'm sure they know what, they have a plan. Bloody hope they have a plan.
Yeah.
I think,
I agree, lads. The whole idea of having this cadence of ship releases isn't great. I could still see them having a decent cadence of ship releases though. But not to obviously the level they've got going on right now. That will be too much. But there are other ways to monetize. There are other ways to create a through flow of in-game, profit. That's not necessarily maybe going to be based on these high ticket, high dollar items. I could see them in all seriousness pushing this idea of, more skins and armors and things, as a means of creating that finance. And once you have a larger threshold, a larger number of players playing per month, or you've got your Squadron 42 release, then you probably will see that smaller denominations, but in the larger mass of people will still net a decent amount of money. And I'd hope that people would therefore not feel as though they're being, quote, scammed.
Yeah.
Talking of Squadron, though, I am nervous for it for one reason. GTA 6.
Yeah.
That's going to be complicated, really complicated. They're going to have to negotiate that one really, really carefully so they don't get absolutely nuked by that.
What do you mean, dude?
Because
It's like the same size event.
God, that article drove me crazy. For those of you who don't know, there's an article from CIG. Apparently, it's translated from Quebecois to English, but it was done in Quebecois, which is a version of French, and someone machine translated it. And apparently, somebody at CIG Montreal, Benoit, I know it was you, said it was going to be bigger than GTA 6.
They said they hoped it would be as
The
big
biggest
as,
cheese.
right?
Yeah,
GTA 6.
the hope would changes the notion. Yeah, there you go. It goes from egotistical ass to hopeful. Oh, we hope it's going to be really popular like GTA 6.
Different.
I do wonder because I think it was referencing they were talking to financiers. This was like a business journal they were talking to, so it wasn't like a gaming journal. So they're probably going, what is something that a normie who has never played video games might recognize as a big title? So they're like GTA 6. So they're trying to give it as like this is something you've probably heard of because it's been in the news,
Yeah. Dude, look at how much free marketing they get from just making these kinds of statements.
Yeah. Chris Roberts says Squadron 42 bigger than Jesus,
Because it's
Remember,
like
kids,
people
context is king.
People won't even remember that in 9 months, right? But like if they see a trailer with Mark Hamill and Gillian Anderson, then they'll be like, wait, that's that game that I heard about last year. What is this again? Like it's the whole advertising. How many impressions you have to get per minute or something to get somebody to care.
Yeah.
Just with Star Citizen, it's per decade.
All right, so we went to the last topic I really wanted to hit is just content. I mean, we kind of hit on that a little bit in our own content, but in terms of the content that we've gotten, we'll start with you, Loken. What is the quality of the content we've gotten? Since this has been the main focus of the year of playability is sort of the content focus. Is it worth it?
So from a content creator and gaming standpoint, I'm going to not necessarily put my I like to diagnose what CIG is doing hat on. So that's taken off now. We're just talking about purely playing the game and me streaming it, right?
As a fan. As
a fan and as a person who streams and makes content, I've really enjoyed it. I like it. It gives me something to focus on every month that is different and narratively interesting. And I've enjoyed their efforts then, to creating a narrative that is meaningful within the remit of what they currently have. It's always been fun to kind of like get the boys together to rally around the latest thing. So obviously you had the those satellite sites, the ones with the big laser thing earlier on this year. I can't remember what they're called now because I'm stupid. Hathor sites, that's it. We had those, and then we had the stuff in Pyro, and we had the big Valakar killing stuff at ASD's sites, a few other bits and pieces too. So yeah, generally speaking, I've enjoyed them. I like them. I like having that capability. I of course, because I play the game quite heavily, as a result of that, it's been good for me to like get the boys together and get people going. And it's cool to see a larger scale number of people, 10, 20, 30 odd people working together as a spectacle, because there are very few games that give you that opportunity to get that many people, that many moving parts. Hell, when we did freaking Carrier Ops, for example, when we got the Idris, which was crazy, released this year as well. Yeah, we'll talk about that at a different point. Carrier Ops, for example. So these have all been helpful and fun to engage with. However, they've all had a bit of an Achilles heel on them, and that is them. I mean, let's talk about Hathor to begin with. That had an Achilles heel of I didn't like the way it was implemented. For example, it was just basically here's a site. There are 4 of these in the entirety of the system. You have 4 choke points now to where people can just blow you up because it's in the middle of anywhere. Have fun, good luck, bye. And yet at the same time, it was intrinsically linked to getting stuff from Wikello. So you needed to do the thing to get the cool stuff from the new Banu guy, but you couldn't do it because bastards kept on killing you, etc. And it was basically made it quite difficult to overall get into it and enjoy it. And I think for a number of people out there play Star Citizen as a solo, or I can maybe 2 or 3 people couldn't engage with that because you don't have the numbers to kill security to be able to mine long enough to do the damn mission. So that was a huge L in my personal books. I think from a narrative perspective, when we had the Pyro thing, when the 4 people we had Fight for Pyro, yeah, and the whole Frontier Fighters weren't the bad guy, but then they were the bad guy, but you had to read some obscure tablet somewhere, and which
didn't spawn.
Yeah, it didn't spawn. We didn't see it, and you and I were both basically like, yeah, CIG, you didn't earn that. Please, please no, please no. They have got a lot better with their narrative since then, though. Like seriously, you got to give them credit. They learned from it, but like I said, each of these events have had something that's kind of not been great. And I will be honest and say I have not necessarily enjoyed the number of events that have involved a massive degree of, well, here's this cool narrative-y thing, and it's all awesome, and it's the thing you want to engage with, but it's going to railroad you into a funnel, funnel you into a location to where have fun, you're going to get killed because it's, no holds barred type thing.
Yeah.
You had that with Hathor, you had that with the ASD sites recently. Honestly, the first one that's actually been great for me personally in terms of, not necessarily just having, just ridiculous PvP is the Onyx sites. Those have actually been quite well done, and I'm very impressed with that overall. That's the most impressed I've been. But I want to acknowledge the fact that none of these events were perfect. All of these have had learning experiences, but I overall appreciate the effort. I overall appreciate these new splash screens as well, the new kind of gazette of what's going on in the verse. It's made it feel more like it's an actual living, breathing verse now, rather than just an alpha. And I have appreciated overall that effort. It's a lot of effort, and I hope that this stuff isn't just sort of lost or sort of cast to the wind once as the development proceeds forward, because that would be disappointing. But like I said, for the most part, enjoyable. It's generally helped me engage with my community more and find more things to do, which is always a good thing.
Especially with Star Citizen. I mean, you were around when we had the year of nothing, right? Or you just
yes.
Yeah. the 2.6,
I was around. I'll be honest with you, though, mate. Because I was around, I wasn't making content because I was like, there's nothing to do.
There's
nothing to do here. I'm not going to make content. I'm going to make Mech Warrior. Yeah. It was until 3.0 dropped, and I got bullied into playing it again. Hey, there's stuff to do now. Are you really? Is there really stuff to do? Yeah, I should try it. Fine. Oh, okay. It's actually a game now. Right, fine. Yeah. I'll start streaming it. That was. Yeah, I was been backing since 2015. So game's not.
Space Minnow, same question to you. Like, you also do content. I know you mostly focus on features, and we like me, you talk about the game a lot. But with your own experience, what has your been experience with the content drive? Has it been good? Is it successful for this year, since this is the focus of this year?
I think it's been pretty solid. I mean, I wouldn't say any of the things that they've done were the things I want to see in Star Citizen. I am definitely a person who likes to see like logistics and industrial gameplay come together to complete a goal. And I do think that led to me and a lot of other people enjoying the resource rush more than any of the other sandbox activities or events they've done this year, besides maybe Fight for Pyro or the Supply or Die event. I like each of the locations they've brought in as standalone, what feel like small stories that players are meant to run into. Like, if, say, we have 5 star systems when the game comes out, each of those star systems has 20 unique locations that all have some story associated with them, and we're just seeing the first 2 of those locations in Stanton, then these feel like incredible parts of the game being added. They're not things that have to be repeated. They're not things they expect people to go and do every week of their play cycle. They probably will stumble upon it, do one mission there or one storyline there, and then take other missions that kind of tie into there, send you on a delivery run maybe. Maybe you have a bounty you have to go get there. You orbit around the location, but there's never really a time when it's the direct focus unless you're doing the story. If they can do that in a lot of different places, then this feels like a great format. If they are making these with the thought that like
jingle keys, jingle keys, jingle keys, jingle keys.
Yeah, yeah. This has got to be part of a format, not necessarily something they're just doing for this year. And so I think that the way that they're handling the content releases is better, but I worry about whether or not it's like their long-term strategy and they're going to keep doing this. My favorite it has been Hathor. I just enjoy how easy it is to get in there, do whatever it is you want, and see what happens and get out. It was the first time I've ever played Star Citizen, and I felt like we were finally seeing a situation where like I I think it was around 2017, 2018, I started to watch DayZ content. I don't play DayZ. I could care less about it. I mean, that's not true. It's a pretty cool game, but I don't play it. I've spent maybe 30 minutes in it, but the content that comes out of it is so cool.
Mhm.
And it is there are a couple YouTubers that make just like really cool cinematic stories where it feels like they go into the game, they do something, and they don't know what's going to happen, and you can kind of just see what happens that day. And that's pretty common in a lot of games, but I never felt like I had that in Star Citizen. And Hathor was the first place where I had that. And I could see somebody in chat saying like I have 12 people with me, so it's a fun time. I go in Hathor solo. And like people can come on my stream and watch. I love to go there solo, sneak in and see what's going on because again, you don't know if you're going to run into somebody who might befriend you. Maybe your ship gets blown up, which does suck. Like that is annoying, but it happens 1 out of 5 times. And most of the times when I go to these locations, I have a better time than I did going to some packaged bunker with 10 people who may or may not be dead by the time I get there. The ASD facilities, man, the new underground facilities, that's actually been such a bright spot for me because I was worried that they weren't going to do underground facilities after distribution centers came and they just wouldn't mention them here or there. Now we're seeing rumors that they might have abandoned underground facilities in upcoming patches. And I'm like, they're going back into it. They're actually using the locations. They are actually building out the stuff that they are supposed to be using for the game. They're just attaching some kind of storylines to it right now. So I'm hoping that like this all feels fairly good. A lot of it's unbalanced, like Loken said, a lot of it's not perfect, but it feels like it's doing the right thing and going in the right direction. I am looking forward to seeing what they do with it next year and how they might continue that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo a lot of that. I will say my biggest I am a narrative guy. I'm a lore guy. So the fact that they put in narrative this year was big. And quite honestly, the biggest things they added this year were the random like side conversations you could just stumble upon where people just talk about stuff. And as of this last patch, 4.3, and I think in 4.3.1, if you walk up to an NPC and they notice you, they'll say, "Hey," and walk by you. So
it's wild, isn't it?
Yeah. Like they'll actually acknowledge you're there. And it seems like, okay, so it's just like a step forward. And then of course it's night and day with just the various mission givers actually having like audio and also a visual component where you take a mission for them and they're like, "Hey, what's up, buddy? We're gonna do these like."
It's been really cool.
Even if it's simple, it's like the one for Onyx, the guy, I can't remember his name, but like he, it's clear they're using the idle animation and they're speeding it up. So like you see his lip synced, but then you also see him kind of step back and look down and do the thing that you see when NPCs and players are like idling. He's doing it. I keep expecting him to pull up his notebook glass when he's talking, and then just randomly for those things. So it's clearly they're putting default animation, and then they're just mocapping his face. So they're not doing the whole body movement. It's because it's easier.
Yeah, it's fine though. It gets the job done, you know. So
it's the step up from everything being in text in your mobiGlass.
Oh God, yes,
such a long time.
It's been years, mate. It's been. Yeah, I love that. It really gives immersion.
So like that alone has been a huge improvement. But then actually doing narrative content like Onyx and the Stormbreaker, like once like I showed my wife the she's a horror author, so I showed her the trailer for the Stormbreaker patch, and she was like, "Oh, this is nice. Probably would have been better in October when there's actually a horror, themes." And I was like, "Yeah, probably. It's a little weird." And then they went on for that with Onyx, and Onyx is also, she's like, "Why are they doing all this horror stuff?" And I'm like, "I think it's because the last patch of this story is in September, which means it is the horror themed patch because it's the sort of the horror stuff." And man, I was not expecting CIG to go the direction they did because in 4.3.1, there was you can now find all of the audio files, and all of the audio files are connected to tiny stories within the Onyx
Yeah.
facilities.
Yeah. I was going through it yesterday and I was like, wait, I could just play the audio file. I didn't have to have the contract, and it gave
Yeah.
me story. And I was like, that was the main problem I had with 4.3.
Yeah.
I love it.
And there's a place where you get to meet Billy. Billy, poor Billy. You walk into the facilities, I think it's the medical labs, and you'll hear, "Go away! No! I don't want it!" And you go, "What? That's new. Where the hell?" And then you walk, and there's a naked guy. He is naked. He is naked with a gun. And I'm like, okay, that's gotta be like a bug. So I walked up and shot him, and then he respawned instantly out of one of the pods that were in the facility. I'm like, wait, what? And it's the exact same guy. And I shot him, and then he came out of another pod. And I'm like,
Are you sure he respawned?
is this guy respawning, or is this just clones coming out of pods? And then once you've killed them, you can go to like an actual audio file, which is like, "Are you ready, Billy, to be the first human to be transferred to another body?" And he's like, "Oh, sure, Doc, but does this mean I'm gonna die?" And Dr. Yort's like, "No, Billy, you're going to live forever." It's like, oh man, monkey paw curled with that. Monkey paw curled. And it's just, that's a tiny story inside of Onyx that you could miss if you weren't paying attention to it. It's Sam, not Billy. It's Sam. Sammy is what it's called.
But I like that.
It's like, I'm sorry for ruining it for some folks for doing it.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Yeah,
thanks.
no problem.
Spoiler alert.
But that's just one of at least 5 different like mini stories you can find in those audio files in Onyx, and that direction shows me that CIG understands how to tell narrative in a sandbox setting like Star Citizen, and that has been what's exciting. The content itself outside of that has been decent enough. Like, I love CZs. I think Hathor is good solo. It can be good with a group. I don't like the fact that it's connected to Wicklow so hard, and there's a problem. We'll talk about Wicklow next, because I think Wicklow is fundamentally flawed. It's a good experiment, but I think it needs to be overhauled in terms of its resources requirements, in terms of how it works. So
makes sense for a template. I mean, there should be a bunch of different dealers around the game.
Yeah.
I was under the impression that with guild script was going to mean that we'd get, a mercenary guild trader vendor somewhere where you could spend that as a different form of currency, but that hasn't come to fruition yet. I think that's still on the cards, but it's not come in yet,
Yeah. So, I mean, that's been probably my biggest concern, my biggest issue with content, is that Wicklow is great. I love Uncle Wick. He's fantastic. But he is fundamentally, his prices are just way too damn high. Like
the bloody gacha vendor, I dislike him intensely.
They've removed the gacha aspect of it.
Now just charges astronomical bloody prices.
Yes. The problem I hate about it is the ICT costs more resources and time to acquire than a Hornet does. And it's like, I like mechs. Don't get me wrong. I love mechs. But a mech is not the same as a military grade Hornet. Okay? It's just...
Yeah, one flies.
That's just not just one flies, and it has more guns and better,
Yep, I agree. I 100% agree. The other thing as well, though, if we're going to talk about old Wicklow, old buddy, old pal, yeah, great. I like him. I like his little vendor area. I think it was great to see the first alien in SC. That was a huge deal. We both freaking went ape over that. We were like pouring over that place.
Yeah, you and I were some of the first people to actually see the Emporium, because we actually could clip in to see the Emporium during PTU. Yeah. So,
exactly.
It was open.
But the thing is that if you are going to create a vendor to whom you need to provide resources which are extraordinarily rare, very time consuming to grab, and take multiple hours and play sessions over multiple weeks for the average person to acquire, you absolutely 100% cannot then have that thing removed in the next bloody patch. What a complete and utter kick in the rear for all of your hard work. And yes, I'm sure some people will say, but alpha, and I'll say, yeah, but then what's my incentive?
Yeah, why should I do it?
Yeah, persistence
Why
needs
should I
to
do
work. It needs to be
No.
more reliable for all this stuff to matter to more people.
That's been my biggest issue. It's why I don't engage with it. Otherwise I would, because it's got some cool stuff, but I don't want to spend 30, 40 odd hours, collecting things and getting the boys together and all that business, because it does require a decent number of hands, to do it, and then just have my thing just evaporate. I don't derive pleasure from not keeping the thing I've worked for. I don't know.
Yeah,
I see it, do it for fun. Yes and no. I do it like once for fun. I got a couple of like Wiccolo things. I was like, okay, I understand the mechanic now. I want to keep my thing. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it. That's how it's been for me.
Every time they do better at persistence, the player base goes up.
Yeah.
It kind of coincided with the pandemic, so I can't say for sure, but like the 2020 boost of players happened right as they got baby persistence working and you could maintain things between patches. And now, as it gotten better with PES and stuff, it's kind of gone up again. And it's like Wiccolo just focuses on the problem that the rest of the game has. It's like you don't really want to play a game that realistically if you don't think you're going to keep your stuff that long. I certainly don't. I still don't play the game regularly because I'm like, well, this isn't really a permanent game. I'm still just jumping into play. And I think people care a lot more when that kind of stuff is guaranteed to stick around.
I think it's also important to understand balance, because we were talking about how the ICTY requires a full run of Stormbreaker. So you have to have gone to the site to get the specimen card. You have to go back to the Lazarus site to actually get the egg, take the egg out. You have to then fight the Apex Valakar, and then you have to full craft. You have to full extract every single thing that Valakar has, and you need at least 5 of the teeth and 10 of the pearls. And then once you've gotten that, then you also need to go to a CZ and get 2 NN13s. And then the other things is getting like favors, which aren't as difficult. But if you were just going out to get an ICTY and you're like, cool, I like the stompy fighty mech thing, it would require you to solo the Apex Valakar, which is impossible or is just annoying. Then go out and do a bunch of script missions so you can get enough for a favor, or do other things for favors. Then solo the CZ and get lucky enough to have the NN13s work. Even if a thing was working perfectly, this is insane. That requirement, for one, is insane. And as a result, it's not geared towards group gameplay, it's geared towards solo gameplay. And that's been a problem, is that a lot of the rewards that CIG do is definitely a solo focus, and whenever you do something in a group, you're punished for it, which is not the direction they should be going. And that's been a problem in the past, but it's become more of a problem as they've improved the game this year. So
yeah, I'm gonna tag on to that and say, yeah, absolutely. We both have the same issue where we both don't want to necessarily take people's time if they're not going to get potentially the reward, right? So I know you boys you just do have a loophole and you kind of wrap that off, and I think that's a good idea. But really, in an ideal world, everybody should get something for their time. When they don't, it's one person will generally just benefit, and the rest of the people's time will just have been expended. And if you're doing, if I'm gonna go down that route of it's an MMO and this is an MMO raid dungeon, then everybody gets something from the MMO raid dungeon, right?
Yeah,
that's kind of how it works. It means everyone's time is valuable. Or valued, sorry. And I'm not currently doing that.
And I think CIG still has the problem of not valuing your time as a player. And I think that's a problem.
They're trying to, I guess, avoid giving too much stuff out so it gets under respected, right? People don't really want to get it anymore because everyone has it. How do they get around that while still giving everyone?
You give everyone something, and then you make a random version of it rare. So you can
there you go. Yeah.
So you have a random drop of a high value. So if you want to get that, you have to grind it. But if you grind it, you can do with other people, because then everyone has a chance of getting that rare drop. So, if you, for a Valakar, for instance, if you're going to use it connected to Wiccolo, you just drop the prices. The ICTY should cost like an NN13 and a quarter of an Apex Valakar, or not even like one thing from an Apex Valakar, and then the adult Valakars or the baby Valakar pearl fangs and stuff like that. So you still get easier to collect, but you still have to go there to get those resources.
Yeah.
And then every so often the Apex Valkyr drops like super rare item that you need for a Polaris. So you can go, okay, well, I'm obviously going to get this, and we can maybe get 2 or 3, and then we can keep doing this for that one item, so we can get people the stuff they need, but everyone else has the options. So, yeah, don't worry about the camera too much, Tomato. I know it's just.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and fix it in between this and the Q&A.
Q&A. Okay. That I'm trying to be critical enough because I think these are the things that CIG need to focus on. Because overall, I would say they've had a good year for content.
Yes.
Like it is
they have.
with please more resource drive, line go up mission stuff. Like I love the community goal driven orientation of stuff, and I'd love to see that continue. Do something more akin to like the community goals in not Eve, in Elite, or the major orders and Helldivers, where it feels like the whole community is working together to do something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, those are cool.
that allows you to
There's
like
a lot of.
yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say there's a lot of great stuff that Elite Dangerous does on the space scale that Star Citizen could learn from, and I think they do. They just don't implement. But I would love to see stuff like the group stuff that Elite Dangerous does in their game.
Yeah,
100%. I think having large scale community goals that everyone pulls toward really does actually give you a feeling of community, and also lets individual solo players, again, coming back to the under, I know sometimes they get a little underrepresented in these current year of content things, gives them the opportunity to feel as though they're contributing to the greater whole. You know, they everyone pulls together, everyone does the thing. It's freaking cool, and I've always enjoyed that. You know, as you mentioned, Helldivers, Elite Dangerous, they do it pretty freaking well. So yeah, I'd love to see more of that. And you're right, definitely want to see. It's been, as you say, a good year for content, but more, please. Like this is you did good, but we need to keep it up.
yes.
In my opinion, you know, keep it up and continue improving, learn the lessons, implement them. Everyone so far they've learned and got better, and I want to see that cadence continue.
Yeah. No, I would say
Well.
it started off rough, but they've ended up much stronger. And again, it comes down to just Star Citizen problems are the reasons why it's no longer the narrative's fault. It's now like some fundamental issues that are outside of the mission team's focus or the narrative team's focus that are causing these problems. You know, hopefully we've seen the rumors that they're doing the transportation update. They've been talking about that a lot, and I'm hoping we'll still get a chance to sit down. We'll see them sit down with Benoit and talk again about what's going on, because that would be
Yeah,
good.
whenever that's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what? The one thing I would really love to see come from this year is if they are spending all this time and we got delayed on the EPTU and all the features and stuff, so that after this year they could take up the satisfactory model and just be in a place where they can run the PU in the way they want to be all stable and playable and stuff, and have an EPTU, experimental branch, where all the stuff gets tested and run on and all that stuff until the point where they don't go back to what you said, which was like, if they start working on features again, they destabilize everything. It would just be so fantastic if there was a separate branch that was always a bit unstable, but allowed them to get that stuff tested and allowed players to see the feature progress until they were able to put it in live.
Yeah, I agree with you. I really do. My only concern would be, you know, trying to, I don't know, get enough people to test it, if you get my meaning. Because we're already pulling from a smaller pool of players, you know.
Yeah.
And then getting them to go onto the EPTU is, for me, it's great. 100% do it. But I know there are some people who aren't going to do it. So, but yeah, I would like to see them maybe have longer EPTUs that then just, you know, they iron out most of the kinks. So it's, you know, at a much higher grade before it then gets put into the verse. And I don't think that's an unattainable goal.
I was gonna say, like, I think they could do it if they gave you, like, you could get to keep the rep that you earned in the EPTU, or something that gives you like an incentive to do so. Because I actually did play a lot. I'm actually an old school Bean Bandit when it comes to DayZ. I played DayZ back when it was originally just a mod for Arma 2.
My God. My goodness gracious me.
So if it makes sense as to why I'm so aggressive all the time. It's because my first gaming experience on a PC beyond when I was younger was running into people with axes and hitting them until they stopped moving, so they would stop shooting me.
Where was the spawn from?
Yes.
A mad axeman that I have to deal with on a week-to-week bloody
Yes.
basis. So I'm just behind you, just going,
Origin
wake up,
story.
and he's off again.
So, but like that, I don't even know where I was going with this. But that experience in DayZ really drove me towards the like emergent gameplay stuff when it comes to like just content being more self-driven. So yeah, I forgot what we were talking about before that. But
Star Citizen, of course.
Star Citizen. Well, I was just remember like
Star
what
Citizen things.
we were specifically talking about at that point. I think, yeah, EPTU. They would do betas where like the new patch would have all of the new features and it would run for like months. So if you wanted to play the new features, you had to play in the beta mode or the experimental mode. And it got plenty of people playing it because people wanted to play it, but it was unstable compared to the more stable branch. So Paul forgets what he's talking about because he's jogged the memory of being an axe murderer back in the day. Listen, Star Citizen, my anticipation for Star Citizen comes from DayZ only because the first time I got a kill in DayZ, it was a visceral experience. Like I have never had that experience. I've been playing shooters since I was, since GoldenEye, like back in the 90s and Doom and such. I was never so nervous in a video game as I was with that first kill because it was somebody who was sniping in Cherno. So they were camping the hill over Cherno. And
Yep, I know it well.
And I approached them from behind because my friends were pinned down in the city. So I was the only one available. I had an AKM and I walked out of the bushes. He didn't see me until it was too late. And as he turned to shoot at me, I unloaded basically an entire magazine into him until he stopped moving. And it was like, oh, I got a kill. It was my first kill that I could confirm. And I'm like, I love this game. This feels amazing. This dude who was legitimately just being a jerk, I was able to outsmart him and beat him in 1-to-1 combat. I'm like, that's the high I've been chasing in video games ever since. And that's one of those like things that I think Star Citizen could do if it did it well. So Skyrim Mountain Near Churro, yes, that one. So I think CIG is moving that direction, hopefully with places like Hathor, but also moving towards the more narrative dungeon experiences with like Onyx, where you can actually enjoy yourselves. Like I like what they're doing with that. So, all right. Any last thoughts on this year of playability? I guess we can tackle the one thing that a lot of people have said: is this truly the year of playability? Space Tomato.
Oh boy. Depends on what you mean by playability. I mean, the game's more playable.
Uh-huh.
It's hard to not say that it's more playable. It is more playable. Is it playable enough? I don't know. For what? No, it's not playable enough. Elevators still don't work. We still fall through the ground in Pyro. AI sometimes isn't functional. Quantum travel and the star map are still frustrating. There's so many problems still that it's not like it's a game that's ready to be released or something, but it's definitely more playable. There is definitely a better flow of content coming into the game. The content feels like it actually matters, and they're doing maintenance, which they've never done before.
Yes, good point. We haven't mentioned it, but yes.
So like there's clearly a push towards playability. The game is certainly becoming more playable. But you can also tell it's not their only goal. Like, I think part of the problem and part of the criticism that comes from mocking the year of playability is like, it would probably make a lot more sense and come off a lot stronger if that's really where their true goal was, but their true goal is Squadron. So it's like the game itself is getting however much you want to say of the effort. I think it's less than 50%. Jared seemed to clarify that yes, it is. It might be a little exaggerated, but more than 50% of their efforts going towards Squadron. So of the leftover effort they have for Star Citizen, they have to both deal with the content they're releasing, the ships they're putting within those releases, the fixes and the maintenance for the live releases they're doing, and then also the tech debt that they have, the transportation refactor, dynamic server meshing. Like, there's still a lot of stuff they're doing with Star Citizen. So I think the playability focus, while they made a whole big deal out of it in the beginning, is still a small portion of what the whole company is working on. And I think that's why we're not seeing it hit us in the face immediately. It's just kind of slowly getting better. And I don't think we're going to be in a place by the end of this year where everybody's going to look at the game and be like, yes, they did it. It's just, it's still just gradually going.
Logan, same question for you. Is this truly the year of playability?
I think it's the most playable Star Citizen's ever been. I think that's the metric we have to judge it against. In all the years of SC existence, is the most playable, the most accessible, the best it's been. But I don't think we've hit a point to where it is a. I hang on 2 seconds. My mother just came back.
Is that Chris? Is that Chris telling you what to say?
Yes.
Yeah, it's just Chris in the background. It's actually. I've got several CIG lawyers behind me. They're all just ignore the comedically sized bag of money over there, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm totally not part of CIG marketing. No, as I was saying, it's the most playable SC's been, but we judge it against SC itself. If you look at it from a different perspective of a person now coming into the game who hasn't been a part of the journey like we have, and there's a problem for us. We spend so much time on it, we know all of its foibles and things, right? So we're kind of in there, right? If you look at it from an outside perspective, no, it's not playable enough at all. It has so much work to do. And as to echo Space's point, it's not the priority right now. I have a sneaking suspicion, and again, echoing a lot of what Tomatoes said, this year of playability was really a year of, we need to get most of the people working on Squadrons so it's out the door. So we'll say it's for playability, and we'll mostly focus on this narrative stuff. It's a little easy to do them focus on these big features right now. So hey, it's playability. We're gonna get the gameplay. Most of the people are working on Squadron right now because we really need that out the door.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's okay. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but let's just call it what it is, And that's fine. It still ultimately yielded and netted a better overall game experience for all of us all to play. But there are a lot of problems to be dealt with, and there's a lot of stuff to still be done, and there's a huge amount of tech debt still remaining, and there are major gameplay cycles and loops that are not in yet that need to be there before we have this hallowed date of 28 as the release for 1.0. I don't know. Why did he say that?
27.
Why did he say that?
27 or 28.
27,
okay.
28. Well, I mean, who the heck thinks it's coming out in 27? Like this, that's a
Dude, that's
insane.
like a year and 4 months away.
Yeah.
Heaven's sakes. There's no way on God's green earth it's going to be out in next year. 2 years. I mean, even with the combined efforts of the entire team, off of Squadron and on to Star Citizen. No,
Yeah.
29, I think, would be the first, like the earliest I'd see it, like being legitimately like 1.0,
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if 28 is a beta. If they're like finishing at the squeaky end of 28, like November patch, it's like we reached beta, and then been like we'll release in a year, with actual testing. But I will say that from the context of what the actual year of playability was originally pitched as, that is definitely the year of playability, because I think a lot of people forget how bad 4.0 was when it launched.
Oh God, I don't.
It wasn't 318 bad, but it was bad.
It was bad.
Yeah. We all knew it was going to be bad. It was just a factor of like you're introducing a brand new system and jump gates at the same time as server meshing. Like this is just so many things to go wrong, and they were really quick to pivot and fix some of those problems, especially with the crashes and such. And that was really the focus that Benoit was saying. That is, we want to fix this problem. We want to fix the server meshing issues. We want to make sure they're as clean as possible. And by like March, it was pretty much done. Like by the time they hit within 2 months of their statement, they had pretty much eliminated those 30K crashes with or infinitely loading server recovery errors.
Oh yes, yep.
But in the context of what people took it as. Obviously not. As to echo everything else you all said, of course this year is the best Star Citizen's ever been, but like, I think that's just every year. People, I think, also don't understand that like every year CIG moves the bar forward with the game. The game gets better every year. Sometimes they two steps forward and one step back, but almost always they're moving forward in terms of performance, gameplay, balance, features, whatever. So yeah, this year is better, but I personally wouldn't recommend somebody who's brand new to like the game to be like, hey, come in and play and enjoy the experience without a huge list of like,
here's the terms and conditions that may apply.
Yeah. like when I've had that a couple times where people come in and say, I would like to buy this game. And I'm like, don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
I have to get that all the time. And I just say, look, I can't tell you whether or not you'll enjoy this game, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm subjective. If you like the thing that you're seeing, that's great. It is as cool as it looks, but, and then T's and C's apply, it's an alpha, it breaks, and it can be a complete son of a gun. Good luck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That question is, you always get that question with no context whatsoever. Will I like this game?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Your mic, by the way, Space Tomato, is your camera mic now, it seems like.
Uh-oh.
Well, your camera seems to be a little bit more stable.
Yeah, I just changed the mode, so.
Okay.
You give a little, you get a little, huh?
But yeah, I think that's a good context way of rounding out this discussion of the year of playability. As always, thank you for watching. Make sure to check out Loken Plays on twitch.tv/Loken Plays and bother him about starting a YouTube or continuing his YouTube, because he said that specifically last night. Because I stream with Loken every Friday. We play games together, not just Star Citizen, we play other games together. And yesterday, he asked chat to bully him to make YouTube content.
I need you to bully me to do it, because I need to do it. I'm just going to start a new channel.
Yeah.
I'm going to start a new channel, and I'm just going to finally do what I should have always done, which is make tutorials and ship reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Finally do it, but get on me on that.
And then, pretty much every day, though, you stream, right? Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. GMT, 2 p.m. EST. I'm always there. Usually playing SC or something else. If there's a new cool game out, I'll take a look at that. But yeah, you'll find me over on Twitch and TikTok, basically. And if you ever have any questions at all about anything, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Well, okay, there are some stupid questions, but generally speaking, there are no such thing as stupid questions. So ask away. Happy to answer.
And then, of course, Mr. Space Tomato, you can catch him at Space Tomato everywhere. Space Tomato 1, Space Tomato 2, Space Tomato Cooking, the Space Tomatoes, the Tomato Vision, the Avengers Rise of the Tomato. I don't
Assemble.
Yeah.
Inside the tomato.
And of course, twitch.tv/Space Tomato, right? Or is it Space Tomato Gaming?
Space Tomato. Oh, geez. What is it? I think it's Space Tomato GG.
Yeah, okay.
Gosh, what is my Twitch? Space Tomato Gaming. You're right. Good job.
Okay. You stream pretty much every day, right? Is there days off?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. But you're doing like 2 videos a week usually, or?
Yeah, I do anywhere from like 5 to 7 videos on Space Tomato 2 and 1 to 2 videos on Space Tomato Gaming.
Awesome. Check that out.
So I try to do like daily news on the second channel, and then more sort
absolute beast up in here. Jeez, that is. Man, goodness me.
Right,
I'm quibbling about doing one video. This dude's popping out like 7.
Well, his secret is that he also has a wife who does a lot of work with him. So like it's a full family thing.
Person,
so.
Yeah, we also have 2 editors too.
Yeah. Familial labor and 2 editors. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm gonna let myself off the hook in that.
Yeah.
And also my niece does the unpaid child labor.
There you go.
But she yearns for the content mines, obviously, because all the children yearn for the content mines.
The salt mines, particularly. Yeah.
And of course, if you enjoyed this, we do this on Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Twitch.tv/theastropub and youtube.com/@thecaptainstable podcast. Would love to have you come join us live. And if you did enjoy this, like the video, subscribe for more content, and hit the bell icon to be notified when these release. And of course, comment down below, is this year of stability the year of stability? What was your experience with the year of stability? Let me know that.
Would you like to know more?
Would you like to know more? All that more in the comments below. And like I always say,
you feel stable?
like I always say, hope to see you someday. in the black.